Steve Pagluca invests $325 million into this unbelievably bad league.
Celtics minority owner Steve Pagluca, he has made a record-shattering $325 million offer to buy the Connecticut Sun.
Caitlin Clark just changed the game, but now she's furious. The WNBA just rejected a jaw-dropping $325 million offer that could have reshaped the entire league.
WNBA blocking Connecticut Sun's move to Boston would be a huge blunder.
Why would the commissioner block a move that promised growth, better facilities, and a new era of investment, all sparked by Clark's rising impact? Let's break down exactly what happened and why fans are fired up. This wasn't just another offer. This was a defining moment, the kind of deal that could shift the entire future of women's basketball.
Breaking the $325 million offer made by Steve Pagluca's group to purchase and relocate the Connecticut Sun to Boston was accepted by the Mohegan Tribe and presented to the WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert in July.
Steve Pagluca, a minority owner of the Boston Celtics and a high-profile investor, dropped an unprecedented $325 million bid to purchase the Connecticut Sun.
New owner is willing to spend $325 million. He's also willing to invest another $100 million in a practice facility.
But he didn't stop there. He also committed an additional $100 million to build a world-class training facility in Boston, laying the foundation for a new WNBA dynasty.
Now, the price tag of $325 million, that would make this the most expensive sale in women's professional sports history, guys.
This would have marked the largest sale in women's professional sports history, not just in the WNBA, a jaw-dropping figure that instantly legitimized the league's business potential.
Boston wants to get this team as a relocation. The WNBA might want to see Boston as an expansion team down the line.
That kind of money speaks loud, and it sent a message. Women's sports, especially basketball, are entering a new era of real investment and real attention.
Now, the plan is to move the Sun out of Mohegan Sun Arena.
The plan was simple but ambitious. Relocate the team from Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut to the heart of Boston, a globally recognized sports city.
There is an assumption that the team will just end up moving into the TD Garden. However, I have not seen 100% confirmation that that is actually going to happen. But the idea is to move the team to Boston by 2027.
Imagine this, a franchise with deep roots recharged in a modern market, playing at venues like TD Garden, side by side with the Celtics.
We saw them go to Boston last year with no Caitlin Clark, and it was a sellout. Now, that was a one-off thing. That does not mean that they will sell out in Boston all the time if they go there. That does not mean that. Boston did show up and show out and pack out the building to see the Connecticut Sun last year.
Bigger crowds, stronger media coverage, elite-level facilities, and a pipeline of fan support that's already proven it's ready. And make no mistake, the proof was already there.
The Sun have already played 2 games at TD Garden in recent years, both this year and last year.
The Connecticut Sun had already played 2 games in Boston in recent years, including one this season against Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever.
And both games had a boatload of fans. I believe like over 19,000 fans were there, packing out the arena. This is double the capacity of Mohegan Sun Arena.
Both games, complete sellouts. Over 19,000 fans packed the arena, double the capacity of their current Connecticut home.
Then this year, the Indiana Fever played the Connecticut Sun in Boston, packed house, sold out. It was cracking. So Boston has shown that they will support. Now, will it be a sellout all the time? We don't know, but I do think it's crazy for a league.
The energy was different. The demand was real, and Caitlin's presence only amplified it. This wasn't just about one team. It was about momentum. It was about building on the Caitlin Clark effect.
Yo, Caitlin Clark came in and changed this whole thing around. We got people willing to throw $300 million around, another 100 on facilities now. She really bringing the dough into this league.
The ratings spike, the packed arenas, the new fans who now follow the WNBA because of her. She has become the league's biggest draw, hands down. Her presence alone has flipped the economics of the WNBA.
Steve Pagluca, he was willing to invest $325 million into this unbelievably bad league.
Where owners once hesitated, they're now bidding hundreds of millions. Where seats went empty, they're now sold out weeks in advance. Steve Pagluca saw that future. He saw Caitlyn's impact as more than a moment. He saw it as a movement, and he wanted in. He wasn't just trying to buy a team. He was trying to elevate the league. He wanted to modernize it, invest in it, and help it thrive in a market that lives and breathes basketball.
Kind of like stiff arm them and say, yeah, y'all can get in line, y'all can go apply, because they never even applied, y'all. Boston never even applied.
You'd think a $325 million offer, the highest in league history, would be a done deal.
She is calling the potential relocation great for the WNBA, and she does not want to wait. She's like, hey, we should not have to wait until 2033 to get a WNBA team.
Especially with a legendary sports city like Boston, ready to embrace a WNBA franchise. But what happened next left fans, players, and investors stunned.
The WNBA, the Board of Governors are just going to say nah. It's looking like they are going to veto it. Could you imagine being a player on the Connecticut Sun right now, being on a rookie deal and being like, oh my God, we're going to get our own facility, we're moving to Boston, and then being told, nope, you're still playing. We are not allowing anyone to buy the team.
Instead of celebrating the league's biggest financial win, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and the Board of Governors stepped in and said no. Not because the money wasn't real, not because the vision wasn't compelling, but because of process. That's right. According to the WNBA's official response, Boston wasn't eligible for relocation because the city didn't submit an application during the league's last expansion bid window.
No group from Boston applied for a team at the time, and those other cities remain under consideration based on the extensive work they did as part of the expansion process and currently have priority over Boston.
The league's logic, other cities like Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia had followed the rules and gone through the formal application process, so they were first in line. Boston didn't apply, so they don't get to skip the line. That was the league's stance. Let's pause right there.
The Orlando, they were looking for team buyers, and the Mohegan tribe stepped up and said, you know what? We envision a great future for women's basketball.
A record-breaking offer is on the table. A commitment to invest in players, facilities, marketing, and growing the league. The team's current ownership, the Mohegan tribe, is ready to sell.
We have a lot of people backing a relocation to Boston, including Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey, who was a former basketball player, which I didn't know that. It was really cool of her to be a basketball fan, and not just a fan, but also a former player.
Boston has already proven it can sell out arenas, and yet the deal is stopped cold because of bureaucracy. It wasn't just a delay, it was a hard veto. The WNBA made it clear relocation isn't an option right now. Even though Connecticut's own facilities are falling behind, with players practicing in YMCA gyms and outdated spaces.
But he had one request. In order to accept his money, the WNBA had to be willing to move the team from Connecticut to Boston.
The league would rather protect a procedural rule than take a bold step forward. And here's the twist. Reports revealed that the WNBA may be saving Boston for 2033, planning to treat it as a premium expansion market in nearly a decade. That's 8 years of waiting, 8 years of lost opportunity.
9 additional cities also applied for WNBA teams and remain under active consideration. No groups from Boston applied for a team at that time, and those other cities remain under consideration based on the extensive work.
In a moment when the league has never been hotter. Let's be honest, this kind of decision sends the wrong message. At a time when Caitlin Clark is filling arenas, pushing ratings to all-time highs, and turning WNBA games into national events, the league chose to stall its own growth. It's as if they're afraid of change, even when that change is profitable, exciting, and backed by real investment.
But even with that being the case, If Adam Silver was presented with the option of moving the Pelicans from New Orleans to Boston, he would make that decision, no questions asked. He would make that decision without hesitation. So why in the hell is Kat Engelbert standing in the way of moving one of her dumps to one of the greatest sports cities in the country?
Pagliuca's plan wasn't a hostile takeover, it was a blueprint to elevate the league. But instead of leaning into it, the WNBA seems more focused on maintaining control than building momentum. And the worst part? The WNBA didn't just turn down the money, they ignored the message it sent. This was validation.
The Connecticut Huskies and Geno, they run Connecticut. Nobody really cares about the Connecticut Sun. I just got to be real. They had a good team last year and nobody still really cared.
A signal that women's basketball is finally commanding major league value, that Caitlin Clark's influence has opened doors no one thought possible. But rather than embrace that momentum, they blocked it. It's no wonder players are frustrated. It's no surprise fans are confused. And for those following the rise of Caitlin Clark, this moment feels like more than a misstep. It feels like a betrayal of everything she's helped bring to the table.
Why in the hell would he do that? The female Suns from Connecticut, they're located in something called Uncasville. I'm not making the name up, that's the name of the town.
Despite the massive $325 million offer, plus a $100 million investment in new facilities, the WNBA, led by Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, refused to approve the sale and relocation of the Connecticut Sun to Boston. Why? Because Boston didn't apply during the league's last official expansion window. That's it.
No groups from Boston applied for a team at the time, and those other cities remain under consideration based on the extensive work they did as part of the expansion process and currently have priority over Boston.
The league claims cities like Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia followed the rules and applied properly. So Boston has to wait its turn. It didn't matter that the offer was the largest in WNBA history.
We saw them go to Boston last year with no Caitlin Clark, and it was a sellout. Now, that was a one-off thing. That does not mean that they will sell out in Boston all the time if they go there. That does not mean that. But Boston did show up and show out and pack out the building to see the Connecticut Sun last year.
It didn't matter that Boston already sold out multiple games, especially when Caitlin Clark played. And it didn't matter that players were excited about better facilities, real investment, and a fresh start in a legendary sports city. The WNBA rejected it all to protect its internal process. Even worse, reports suggest the league is saving Boston for a 2033 expansion bid. That's 8 years from now.
WNBA turning down a lot of chicken. Y'all turning down a lot of money, man.
By then, who knows where the league will be? For a league that constantly asks for more investment, more visibility, and more fan engagement, turning down this deal was a confusing and disappointing move. It sent a message that politics and pride mattered more than progress. At a time when Caitlin Clark is redefining the league's value, the WNBA chose control over momentum. And that decision isn't sitting well with fans, players, or anyone paying attention.
It's unsellable if anyone wants to move it. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It just sums up the WNBA. Nobody wants to play in Connecticut. Everyone's pissed.
The WNBA had a golden opportunity, and they walked away. $325 million, a world-class facility, a chance to build on the momentum Caitlin Clark brought to the league.
But nah, it's like, this would be embarrassing. Like, if it was any other team, if they were trying to sell a competent team, it'd be something. Like, they're trying to sell the Connecticut Sun, which is something that the owners basically have said, you know what, we actually just can't keep up. We can't keep up with the costs. And they're trying to sell the Connecticut Sun, and the WNBA are essentially saying, nah, you're not selling.
All turned down over technicalities. Now fans are left wondering, if this league can't get out of its own way, how long can it hold on to the stars who are changing everything? If you stand with Caitlin and want to see real change in the WNBA, drop 100% in the comments. This fight isn't over. It's just getting started.